Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmasters, and our dearest guests. A warm welcome to one of the special meetings hosted by the Gabbys family. I am Smriti Sagarika Mohanty, your host or MC for the day. I'm sure you are as excited as I am for this exclusive meeting today. This meeting will be blocked for 2 hours, entirely an educational session, and you are expected to grace us with your presence for the entire duration. We sincerely appreciate the presence of all visiting Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmasters, and distinguished guests to the session today. I would like to acknowledge the presence of Distinguished Toastmaster Madhusudan Toshiwal, Program Quality Director of District 92 as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's begin by stating the mission of any Toastmasters Club. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self confidence and personal growth. Before we start the meeting, let me highlight certain very key points. Your video should be on and audio should be off. Audio should be on only when you are called to speak or need to speak. Regarding the topic of sex, religion, and politics, even though Toastmasters International does not put any restriction on speaking on these topics, at the Gabbys, we sincerely request all the speakers and role takers to be mindful and responsible and abstain from expressing any controversial views on these sensitive issues. I also urge you to be cognizant of the fact that we as a club practice diversity and inclusion in letter and spirit. Hence, ensuring there are no sexist, racist, or any such undertone that might create hostility and discomfort for the members or any guest here. Well. Now we joined here for an agenda, for an intent, with an intention to learn and grow. They say, while it is wise to learn from experience, it is wiser to learn from the experience of others. And if you really want to be the best, it's better to learn from the best. On that note, let me introduce the man of the hour. I'll take this opportunity and honor to introduce Distinguished Toastmaster Saurav, who is a double Distinguished Toastmaster, completed 10 out of 11 parts in Toastmasters Pathways. He has received several awards from Toastmasters International District 92, like Outstanding Toastmaster, Spearhead Award, and Glam Slam Master Mentor. Saurav has an illustrative public speaking career outside Toastmasters as well. He won the National Debate Championship in 1997 from the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Government of India. Saurav started his professional speaking career in 2010 with his first keynote address at IIM Bangalore Analytics Summit. Ever since, he has delivered professional keynote sessions across the globe in USA, Australia, Singapore, Indonesia, and Thailand. Within India, he is often invited by IIMs and IITs as a keynote speaker, as a panel member, and as moderator for panel discussions. Distinguished Toastmaster Saurav is an entrepreneur who is now building up his edutech startup, Practive, which specializes in training, coaching, and mentoring on soft skills. He is also a visiting faculty at institutes like MICA Ahmedabad and Image Consulting Business Institute. So without further ado, please put your hands together to invite the man of the hour, our very own Distinguished Toastmaster Saurav Datta. The virtual stage is all yours, Distinguished Toastmaster Saurav. Over to you.
Thank you so much. So, unlike what I do typically in my sessions, I have a proper presentation today. So, because this is a heavy subject and this is something that's very important, because I think one of the reasons why people don't continue in Toastmasters after a certain period of time is because they don't see a real value in terms of their professional accomplishments or something that they can apply in their professional life. And I think this is one problem that if we can address, then a lot of people will get more interested in public speaking. So the most important question a lot of people ask me, can we make money in Toastmasters? Well, Toastmasters doesn't pay us to do anything, including this education session. But what it does is it creates a lot of opportunity for us. And let me share a couple of things about the way I'm kind of growing myself as a public speaker. So almost 30% of my revenue comes either from Toastmasters directly or through people who refer me, who are Toastmasters and who refer me to other people. So while Toastmaster doesn't pay you unless you are one of the staff at the Vault headquarters in Dan Rex's team, it is not that you can't make money through Toastmasters. You can. If you are building that kind of a credibility within this organization, within this fraternity, there is a good opportunity for you to make a good amount of money by investing time in Toastmasters. So I'm going to share with you. One second, I'll put the wrong slide on this. So I'm going to share with you today what are some of the things that we need to do as a Toastmaster. What do we need to learn to become a more proficient public speaker and earn money or grow professionally as a public speaker. So with that intention, let us get the discussion started. So the learning outcomes for today are three things. We are going to learn certain things. We are going to comprehend, which is understand certain things, and we are going to apply these things as well. So it's not going to be a Gyan session. I'm going to ask you certain questions and we're going to engage. I will not invite you to engage. I will ensure that you engage during the session. So that's kind of going to happen. So before we get started with the content, let us first understand that why is this so important. So 92% of the respondents in one of the surveys have said that keynote speaking is one of the most effective way of building your personal brand. The other one being writing a book. So that is something that we need to keep in mind, that it's not only about earning through keynote speaking or public speaking, it's also about building your own personal brand. And that is something that is very important, irrespective of whichever profession you are. You may always think that, I'm an engineer. Why do I even need to become a professional speaker? Well, you need to become a professional speaker because if someone is ready to pay you for 2 hours of your time for you to, for example, consider this. If someone is flying down all the way to US, being paid by someone for the travel and for speaking, then what do you expect that person's personal brand to look like? That person obviously is going to be looked upon by the industry experts as someone who's very valued. So most of my trips, where I have, except for a few initial ones, where I have given speeches outside of India as well, the trip and the accommodation and everything has been sponsored by an organization, and that adds a lot of value when we are trying to showcase ourselves as a professional speaker or even as a professional in that particular space. So at that point of time, I was working in data science and data analytics. So it did give me a lot of leverage. It helped me get a lot of things out of my professional career as well in the data science space, because I could establish myself as a thought leader through these kind of conferences. Now, let's get into decoding the professional speaking. What is professional speaking? So there are basically these various avenues through which you can become a professional speaker. Keynote is just one of them. We generally, whenever we say it's professional speaking, we think that we are talking about keynotes, but not necessarily. We have got panel discussions, expert panels. Very recently, there was an IIT Bombay conference where they invited me as a panel member for one of the panel discussions that were happening around sustainability in AI. Now, that is an example where you can get invited by various institutions, various conferences for becoming a panel member to moderate panels. Corporates frequently reach out to us for conducting trainings, coaching, consulting for their members, for the people of their organization, particularly for the leadership team, the CXOs, because the CXOs have to frequently take the stage and do town halls, address the audience, do earnings calls. So they do need a lot of inputs in terms of how they can professionally speak in front of a larger audience. Keynote speaking engagements, which is what we are going to talk about a lot today. Webinars and virtual events, while during COVID, we have kind of abused that by overusing that, but it still is very popular because it's a cost-effective way of reaching out to a larger audience. So, and it's coming back. So previously, there was a bit of a fatigue which happened between just after COVID because we were doing too much of webinars and virtual events. But now slowly again, it's coming back because people are realizing the benefits of doing that, because there's less cost and there's less logistics issue. Workshops and seminars, various educational institutions invite us to come and speak and address the students. For example, things like corporate to campus to corporate, how to do interviews, how to give interviews, how to prepare an effective resume. various kind of topics, or how to build a career in the corporate. What are the challenges of a corporate career? All of those things is what we cover in that. Apart from that, there are media appearances, coaching, mentoring, authorship, publishing. Because once you start doing this public speaking assignments, people approach you to write a book. Right now I'm co-authoring a book with a couple of other Toastmasters, which is on exactly this: how to become an effective public speaker and earn through it. There's a lot of public sector engagements that will also come your way. Uh, but the government frequently approaches to take sessions for the various workforce. We are currently in a discussion with the Karnataka Police to conduct a session for their staff, particularly police, the people working in the various police stations and all. So that's something that's happening. So these are the various kind of opportunities that you get when you are getting into professional speaking. Now, first let's understand what's a keynote, because we have heard this word often that there's something called a keynote, but what is exactly a keynote? So anyone can tell me, where does this word keynote come from in the first place? Like, why is it called a keynote and not a lock note or something like that? Where does this word keynote come from? Any idea?
It stresses the importance of the speech.
Okay, the importance of the speech, but why is it called keynote? Where does this word keynote come from? Have you ever thought about it?
It is opening. It is opening something.
Okay, it is opening something. Okay, that's why the key. Okay, what else?
Because you tend to cover the key aspects of the
Nice. The key aspects. Okay. What else? Some people say that it comes from the keys of a note, right? Which comes, and it's a symphony and a music that comes in out of it. So there's a good music that will come out of a good keynote speech. It's like a good music, where various aspects is brought in, and then that delivers a keynote. So there are various theories around it, how the word keynote came. But basically, a keynote speech is a speech which is given either to set a tone or to motivate, to inspire the audience. Some of the key characteristics of a keynote speech is that it should have a very strong sense of authority. The person giving a keynote speech has to dress, talk, walk like as if they are an authority in that particular subject, or they are an authority in that particular area. A strong expertise is another characteristic of a keynote speech. The person coming in should not be someone who is going to refer to notes, refer to literature while they're giving a speech, but they should be very, very confident about what they are saying. So basically, it should be something around, it should be something like a knowledge that you are sharing or expertise that you're sharing, and not information. So I'll just try to explain this to you through a story. What is the difference between an information and a knowledge? So how many of you know about the Max Pan chauffeur story? I know Nancy does. Anyone else here who knows the Max Pan chauffeur story? It's a very famous story. No one? Okay, so then I think I can share it, because if the audience is not aware of it. So basically this happened. Yeah. Anyone knows who Max Pan is in the first place? Max Pan, who is he? Anyone? Okay, so he is a Nobel Prize winning scientist who wrote on quantum physics. So Max Planck, basically, after he won this Nobel Prize in quantum physics, he was invited by many conferences and seminars to go and address them on quantum physics, explain what quantum physics is. Now, remember, this is the day when we did not have internet, we did not have mobile phones, computers. So people didn't even know how the president of a country looked like. Forget about someone like Max Planck, who is a scientist, who's not so high profile. So he would go to those conferences and give addresses and all that, the keynote speeches or lectures and all, and come back. Now, he had a chauffeur who used to accompany him in all these seminars and conferences. So one day when he was going there, his chauffeur said that, I'm kind of bored going with you in all these seminars. I want to spice up things a bit for both of us. I think you're also bored giving the same lecture everywhere. He said, okay, fine. So what do you suggest? He said, let's do this. Since nobody knows who you are and how does Max Planck look like, why don't we do this? Why don't we go into this particular seminar in Berlin, where I dress as Max Planck and you come in as the chauffeur? So you come to the back seat, you drive me to the seminar, and you'll introduce me as Max Planck. I said, okay, fine, that sounds like fun. They went in. And the shopper did a pretty good job. He gave a good speech because he kind of memorized everything that Maxman has been saying in all these years. And then finally, what happened is, after the speech got over, one professor stood up and asked a question. And this question was the first time someone asked, and the shopper had no idea what to say. So guess what he did? He said, in a city like Berlin, from a person so senior and so knowledgeable like you, this is too basic a question. I was not expecting this. This is something so simple that even my driver can answer this. And then he pointed to Max Planck. Right? And that is how we handle the situation. So that's a good display of contextual intelligence. But then every time we may not have the real Max Planck sitting in the audience, right? So this is what we call as information. So you may feel that, if it is about emotional intelligence, I can read up a little bit before the keynote session and go and talk about emotional intelligence. It's a big deal. But the problem is, if there is someone in the audience who is going to ask you a question which you have not prepared for, if it is information and not knowledge or expertise, then you are going to be in serious trouble. So that is the reason that we say that you have to have an expertise before you go in to deliver a keynote speech. The charisma and the ability to engage and inspire. Ability to engage, because generally keynotes are very long. It's almost 45 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hour. So that's why, or even sometimes even more. So in that case, it is very important that you engage the audience for almost a couple of hours sometimes. And imagine we find it difficult to engage an audience for a 5 to 7 minute speech. Engaging an audience for 2 hours, what could it mean? So that's the challenge of a keynote speech. Now, before moving further, let us understand the difference between these three things: the workshops, seminars, and keynotes. What's the difference between these three? So workshops are basically where you learn something and you know how to apply it. So at the end of the workshop, the outcome is that you should be able to do this yourself. Let us say that I am doing a workshop on artificial intelligence. So if I'm doing a workshop on artificial intelligence, at the end of the workshop, you should be able to build something in artificial intelligence. You should be able to write a model, write a code, build a model, deploy something, build some solution in AI. Something should come out of it in terms of a hands-on thing. Seminars, on the other hand, is where the discussion is very technical. Where, for instance, it's attended by people who are already in the AI space or who want to get into the AI space, have some foundational understanding, or maybe experts, where the discussions will be very technical, where people will be asking deeper questions in terms of AI, not very foundational things. Keynotes, on the other hand, are more inspirational. It is much more generic. It is not specific to a very technical area. That's why keynotes are there at the beginning of the session, or the beginning of the particular day of the session, or towards the end of the session. And if you look at the keynote topics, they are generally much more generic compared to that of the other topics in that particular session. So if there is a summit on AI and there is a keynote, then if one of the speeches later on, the technical speeches could be something like how to build an LLM model, the keynote at the beginning of the day will talk of something like, is AI here to stay or go? Or is AI ethical? Is it ethical? What are the ethical AI practices? So things which are much more generic in nature, even within that ambit of that particular technical space. So this is the difference between a keynote, a seminar, and a workshop. A workshop is more hands-on. A seminar is more technical in nature. A keynote is much more generic in nature. So it's very important for you to understand that when you get an invitation to go as a professional speaker, are you being invited to address a workshop? Are you being invited to address a seminar? Or are you being invited to address a keynote speech, to deliver a keynote speech? Because the expectations will be very different. If you give a keynote at a workshop, where the expectation is more like a workshop kind of a speech, people will say, this is all gyan, this is 50,000 feet view. I'm not signing up for this. But if you're, on the other hand, if you're coming into a keynote where you're supposed to give a keynote speech and you're giving a workshop kind of a speech, what will happen is people may find it too technical, and you may lose half of the audience midway of your speech because they're actually not following what they are saying. So this is the difference that you need to keep in mind. So before I move on to the next one, any questions on this? Like what are the on the differences between these three? Okay, so let's move on to the next one. And this is another burning question that comes is, what topic do I talk about? This is very important because there are two scenarios that happen. One is the person who's inviting you to speak. That person will tell you what to speak on. So that way you are kind of sorted. But a major trouble happens when someone says, can you do a keynote session for leaders? This is a leadership summit. Now, keynote session for leaders could be anything from situational leadership to everyday leadership to servant leadership to what not. So what are you going to talk about specifically in the field of leadership? So please understand this is a Venn diagram, a very simple Venn diagram. So A is what you know, something which you have got a deep expertise in. B is what you are passionate about, what you love to talk about. And C is what your audience cares about. What you should be delivering in the keynote, if you get a choice to decide the topic, this intersection of A, B, and C is what you should be delivering. The topic should be something within that space. So let me give you an example. I know about data science and analytics. I worked in that space for almost 15 years. I have a sufficiently good amount of technical knowledge as far as application of data science and AI is concerned. But I'm not really passionate about it. So for me, A is data science and analytics. B, on the other hand, is something, I would say around public speaking, around communication, training. That is what I'm passionate about. That's why my startup is in this space, not in the space of data science. And C is what is my audience caring about. So this particular audience here would be caring about something like, what I'm doing right now, a professional speaking, how to become an effective keynote speaker, and so on. So if I want to decide a topic for this particular audience, then in that case, I would select a topic, for instance, something like how to use artificial intelligence to write better speeches. Right now, that is something that I am going to be very passionate about because it's about public speaking. Again, I can use my expertise, and because it is public speaking, you all will be interested. So can we quickly do this exercise for some of you? Like, what do you know? Can some of you just participate in this so that we understand whether you're getting this? So what will be A and B for you? A, B, and what is your understanding of C? I think C is pretty understandable. It's a Toastmaster meeting, so all of us care about public speaking. But what about the A and B? So something that you are knowledgeable about and something you're passionate about, and they may not be the same thing. Generally, they are not the same thing. I will invite you if you are not, volunteering. Okay, Neeta, since I see you on camera, apart from Smriti, so I may ask you. Can I ask you?
Yes.
So what do you know? An area on which you have got a deep knowledge or good amount of knowledge. You're like a subject matter expert.
Yes. I'm a doctor, so I am passionate in this medicine.
Lovely. So you're a doctor, so medicine is something that you're passionate, that you know a lot about. Are you very passionate about medicine, or there's something apart from medicine you're extremely passionate about? It could be music, writing, singing, traveling, eating, cooking, whatever.
Apart from that, I like dancing.
Dancing, right? So you are passionate about dancing and you're knowledgeable about medicine, right? And this audience cares about public speaking, communication, right?
Yes.
So if we have to think of an intersection of all these three, what is a topic that you can think of? Can someone help her with a topic? Can someone suggest her a topic? An intersection of all the three. What could be a topic that Neeta can? Yeah, Smriti.
I'm just giving a try. We can attempt like effective use of body language or expression while presenting a speech or addressing the audience.
Okay. Okay. Jasprit, what's your thought?
Maybe something for the doctors, how they can chill out or relax out when there is a lot of pressure, even, they are in the night shift. So a little bit of dancing around, playing some tune would relax them a bit. Talking about that, how it can be used as a means to relax the stress.
Okay. Okay. What about Mita?
Yes, the doctors are a whole day taking care of the patients, and also they want to change their mind, so they can go for music therapy, and they can ask the audience also how they can change their health and improve the patients through the medicine instead of medicine. through music. So that makes them also relax, and even the patients can get relaxed.
Okay. So all of you gave fantastic answers. The only problem is you conveniently change the audience. So the question was that what will this audience be interested in? So this audience does not have all the doctors, right? So Joanne, would you want to take a shot?
Dance therapy and how it helps to build confidence, not just in dancing, but also in any area of life, like public speaking. Basically, to build
Lovely.
confidence.
Lovely. So why I'm saying lovely? See, dance therapy to improve confidence. That's what Joanne said. Let's decode this. Dance, something that Neeta is passionate about. Therapy, treatment. She's absolutely got the knowledge in this. She has the credibility, right? Because she's a doctor. And building confidence, something that we care about. Anyone here who doesn't care about building confidence, not possible, because as public speakers, that's something we need a lot. So dance therapy for building confidence. Now that is something this audience will be extremely interested in. Right? So you're getting it, how we are going to arrive at the topic. So this is how you need to think. Okay. So anyone else wants to do the same exercise? For one more person, we can do this. We'll have time.
Can I?
Something that you know. Yeah, Joanne.
I have a question related to this. Can I?
Yeah, please.
So, how important is your credentials and credibility when you say you have to be a subject matter expert?
Extremely important. Extremely important. Particularly if it's a paid assignment. First of all, you will probably not get the invitation in the first place if your credentials are not in place. Secondly, even if you're getting the invitation, through a professional contact or social contact or whatever, the audience pays good attention to your introduction. They pay very good attention to your introduction because they're paid money for it. Most of the seminars, the fees are pretty high. It can start with 20,000, 30,000 Indian rupee and go all the way up to, in some cases, even a lakh or a couple of lakhs. Seminars or summits by Gartner, for instance, the entire summit will cost per participant 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs. If you're getting a 20-minute slot there also, people would expect to get value even out of those 20 minutes. So your credentials are extremely important for you to say that, I know about the subject. Having said that, we also have cases where people come in with the credentials and only the credentials and not the expertise or the knowledge. So they turn out to be a big disappointment. This person is so and so, so and so, so and so in marketing, and this person comes on stage and says something that absolutely makes no sense. So credentials are very important, but credentials, I would say, is a necessary but not a sufficient condition. Credentials. Okay, Suma, you want to try this? You want to tell us?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So coming to my what I know, I'm a process consultant. I carry more than 15 years of experience in process consultant in corporate.
Lovely. Process consultant.
And yes. And what I'm passionate about is I love public speaking, motivating people and making sure that they speak confidently. So the audience, I would like to.
No, this is your audience. This is your audience. Okay. So this is the audience. So you have been invited in this Toastmasters meeting. After me, you are going to speak.
Okay.
So what is your topic? That's the question.
Yeah. The topic that I would want to give is how to motivate the audience to use the processes in their, day-to-day life. Because I'm a process consultant, which come with experience.
You are on the right path, but you're just not there. It's a little bit of tweaking we can do in the topic. Let's see if someone can come up with something. I'll tell this thing what I have in my mind. But if someone can come up with a suggestion, let's hear from others as well. Anyone? A process consultant, passionate about public speaking. C is speaking to Toastmasters. So suggest a topic for Suma with an intersection of all the three. Come on, give it a try. Yes, Joanna. Okay, I'll first give you a chance because Nancy, Joanne, you spoke the previous time. So I'll just let Nancy take this and then I'll come to you. Yeah, Nancy?
So public speaking is also a process. How to nail public speaking process.
Okay. Okay. We'll park that. Okay, we'll come back to this. Alok?
Yeah, so when it comes to public speaking and process, the intersection, what I can think is like what are the processes you can use in a right manner, which can make you better public speaker?
Okay. Okay. We'll park this. We'll come to Gauri. Gauri.
So on similar grounds to what both of them have said, but everyone here, especially in this audience, must be aspiring to be a keynote speaker or a public speaker, but it's kind of an intangible and an abstract topic. So if she can give a step-by-step process or just, work around a system where we know how to do this correctly.
So what is the topic? What should go on the poster?
I didn't get that.
What should go on the poster? I can't write this whole paragraph on a poster, right? I have to put a topic on the poster. What is the topic that will go on the poster?
The ABC of public speaking. I mean, it's very, very cliche and random, but that's what I can think of.
Okay.
Saurabh,
Yeah.
I can suggest a topic. Process yourself to speak publicly.
Process yourself to speak publicly. Very catchy. Okay. I think if we give a little bit of, yeah, Nancy, you want to share this?
So for the poster, I was thinking public speaking, a process to success.
Process to success. Yeah. So from a marketing standpoint, very good, but I am not too sure if the Toastmasters will be convinced that, there could be a process to success too in terms of public speaking. See, it has to be something which is relatable. If someone says that 5 steps to make 10 crores in 10 minutes, will you attend that session? I think you will not, because you will probably think it's a scam, right? So you will have to be also careful about it, that it should not be something so outrageous that people think, okay, this must not be true, and April Fool is just around the corner. Yeah, Milton.
Yes, sir. Process to progress, journey of process to progress.
Again, the same problem. Let us make it a little bit more touch and feel. So what about something like this? A step-by-step process to structure a speech. Right? Coming from a process consultant, we will be able to get a step-by-step process to structure a step-by-step process to structure a contest-winning speech. Something like this, where our knowledge will come handy, which is the step-by-step process. Passion will come handy, which is public speaking. And the audience is obviously interested because it is public speaking. So this is something that we can consider as an important topic for the audience, and something on which she has both the knowledge and the passion. Okay. So with this, we will move on. So now that we know what the topic is, how do we craft the message? So first of all, we have identified the niche and expertise that we are going to talk about. The niche is not only the message, but also we have to look at the niche audience, because the audience is also your niche, right? So like in this case, it's the Toastmasters. So we are not only public speakers, we are another unifying factor is we are Toastmasters. This is important because when you are crafting your message, how many examples you would be using from Toastmasters is something that you need to be very mindful of. If this audience would have consisted of 50% Toastmasters and 50% non-Toastmasters, I would have been very careful in using the word Toastmasters in every second line. If this platform was not a Toastmaster meeting platform, I would have been very considerate about the fact that I'm going to use Toastmasters as an example or not. But since this audience is primarily Toastmasters, hosted by Toastmasters, I'm being very generous in the usage of Toastmasters. So that niche is something that you need to be very careful. Otherwise, people will think you're selling it, right? So for example, if you go to a corporate and they have invited you to, let's take the example of Madhu, because since he decided to come on camera now, so I'm going to take his example. So Madhu, who has been invited in his company, Madhu works for, Madhu, which company do you work for? I forgot the name.
I work with Australia New Zealand Bank.
Okay, you work with ANZ, right? So ANZ, so he works with ANZ. Now, ANZ has invited Madhu because they know that Madhu is the program quality director. He's a big shot in Toastmaster. They're inviting him to ask, to tell people that why public speaking or communication matters for techies. That's the topic. Madhu goes into address, and Madhu every second line, because the renewal is around the corner and he just got 3-4 months left to the year ending and all that. He wants to open a new club. Every second line he says like, so you should start joining Toastmaster. You should consider joining a Toastmaster. People will start feeling that Madhu has an hidden agenda. Madhu will lose the audience, right? So that is why it is important that we know the niche and we market it very subtly, not overtly. Even if we want to do it, we have to do it in a very subtle manner. Developing a unique perspective on this particular topic. When we are coming there and say, for example, procrastination, it's a beaten to death kind of a topic. Every man and his brother that I know have done one speech on procrastination, right? When you can't think of anything to speak on, you speak on procrastination. The second favorite is emotional intelligence, right? Everyone comes and talks about emotional intelligence. So here you need to come in with a unique perspective or angle on this. If you come here and say procrastination is bad, don't procrastinate, please don't procrastinate, go back. I've heard this. Everyone tells me at least once in 1 week. So why do you tell that to me? Tell me something different, even if it's a common topic, or select a topic which is not so common. But a common topic, a common point is a death nail to any kind of a speech and a compelling message. This is very important because at the end of the day, people will walk away with a key message. In today's session, if after 2 hours, when someone asks you, where were you? You will say, I was in a session. What was the session about? How to become a successful keynote speaker, right? So that is something that the session is about. That's the key message. I want you to go back with this one key message, even if the rest of the things you don't remember in nitty-gritties, at least this key message is something that should stay with you. So that's about the part about the fundamentals of keynote speech. Any question that we have not covered till now, you can ask me now, or you can ask towards the end of the session if it's not covered in the rest of the slides. So coming up next is the building your brand. So obviously these speaking assignments will not fall on your lap, right? So you will be, you want to be a keynote speaker, and this is a bigger problem, right? A lot of people here feel that we are ready. I've got everything in me to become a keynote speaker. People are just so stupid, they're not inviting me. So how do you ensure that people invite you? And that too, on top of that, you expect them to pay you for it. There are so many people who would give an arm and a leg to do a keynote session for free. Still, no one is inviting them. And here, if you go and say, I will come, you have to pay me 10,000 rupees, or, you have to pay for my flight to go there. They're going to say, are you kidding me? You stay at home. I'm going to go get someone else who's going to come for free. So how do you tackle this problem is what I'm going to talk about next. So this we have already identified, the first one. So basically it's about identifying your niche. So the first one we have already identified, topic. The topic that you're going to talk about. Second is the message that you're going to deliver, which we have already agreed. The message has to be unique. The message has to have a unique point of view or something like that. Next comes a very important consideration. Who are you competing with? What other options do they have for inviting in that particular conference or seminar as a keynote speaker apart from you, right? And where are you having an edge over the competition? Next is connection. How will these people know that you exist? How will these people know that you are willing to make a speech? You are interested to do a keynote speech. Experience, the experience that you bring to the table and the connections that you have through that experience. The education, the educational background, whether you're an MBA, whether you have got a data science degree, whether you're a PhD, the target market that you're looking at, who do you want to deliver the keynote speech to? Do you want to deliver it to the doctors, to the engineers, to the data scientists? Who is your target market? The ecosystem that's there around you, which is this entire combination of all of these things. The college that you have went to, the school that you have went to, your neighborhood, your company where you're working, the company that you have worked before, all of these together builds your ecosystem. So more this niche or the USP that you're going to build will be around this ecosystem. So let me explain to you how will this happen. So this entire thing about marketing and promotions does not happen in a vacuum. First of all, you have to remember that you have to create certain assets. The first thing that we need to create is a very strong online presence. I always say that if you're Googling your name and the only thing that comes up is your LinkedIn account, you have a reason to worry. Particularly if you are aspiring to be a professional keynote speaker and the only thing that's coming up is your LinkedIn account, then there is a serious problem. So the online presence should not be limited to your LinkedIn account and your Facebook account only. It should be about people talking about you. The same thing which happens for a website happens for individuals as well. There should be backlinks. There should be people who are referring to you, which means that whatever you are doing, wherever you are doing, ensure that people are connecting back with you. A very small example, you are in a Toastmaster club. You are getting say a Triple Crown award or a Pathbreaker award. And the district publishes a poster saying that congratulations, Toastmaster Smriti Mohanty for being the Pathbreaker. Ensure that the district is tagging your account, right? Because that is one way that you are getting, because so that people will come and click on Smriti Mohanty, they're able to go to your account. Because there will be so many Smriti Mohanties in the world, right? So no one is going to take the pain of going and find which Smriti Mohanty is this. Same goes for Instagram, same goes for anything else that you are doing. Tagging and requesting a tag back is very, very important. Someone who requests me for a pro bono session or a complimentary session, I always tell them, I will do that provided you give me a backlink from your website to my website. If you give me a backlink, if you can't pay me in cash, because there are many charitable institutions which approach us for the needy, tier 3, tier 4 colleges. They maybe even if they pay, they don't pay a good amount of money. So in that case, what we request is that you give us a backlink from your website. So which means that their college website will now tag my company website. So I'm going to get an online presence that way. Now, if you go to my company website, obviously you see my picture shining over there and all that, So then you are very impressed about my social, my presence and all that. And then, I'm hoping to get something out of that professionally. So that brings me to the second point, creating a professional website. Most of the accredited speakers in Toastmaster, they have their own professional website. I think all of them has it, not most. And there is no professional speaker in this world who does not have their own professional website. I don't have one for a very simple reason. I used to have one. I have actually deactivated that because I did not want my professional speaking identity to conflict with my entrepreneurial identity. So I want people now to come to my company website, not to my personal website. So now I want to build my company brand as a bigger brand. So that is the reason I have deactivated that. Unless you have such a compelling reason like that, and you're serious about being a professional speaker, you need to have your own website. Next is publications and white papers. There are so many. If you just do a simple Google, you will find that Google search, you will find there are so many places where you can publish white papers, you can publish articles, and these are reviewed articles. Don't understand, don't think that, you open your own blog page or something that's going to suffice, because those are not reviewed by someone. Peer-reviewed articles and journals always carry a high weightage in terms of thought leadership. This is very easy for professionals like Dr. Dr. Bindu, because they are in the medical field, right? So in your case, you should definitely do it. Others who are in the field which is not so technical or, something like medical or engineering, at least try to do something where you have an opportunity to write on the area that you are working on or learning on. Say, for example, if I take, I know a lot of soft skill trainers are here like Gauri and Jasprit, Smriti. So what you should do is you should start writing about those things which are important for a soft skills trainer or someone who wants to become a soft skills trainer. Write on that, publish that paper, write a white paper, publish it in your LinkedIn page. So that's how you create your own thought leadership in terms of marketing and promotion. Leverage your past and current connections. This is something that we hardly do. What was the last time you reached out to your, can someone tell me 5 school friends that you remember? Names of 5 school friends that you are in touch with. How many of you can?
Yeah, I can. Even we had discussion yesterday also. We have 10.
5 of them.
10 plus.
10 plus. Okay, Rajesh. Okay, so that's 1, 2. Okay, so it's 2 out of 40. 3, 4. 4 out of 40. Okay, so 5, 6 out of 40. Okay, so the point here is that this is one connection that you are not leveraging. I want you to understand and realize this, that many of your school friends are now probably CEOs of companies, principals of colleges, teachers in schools, Are you reaching out to them and telling them that, you know what, I have now become a keynote speaker. I've invested time in Toastmaster. I'm very confident about giving public speaking. In public speaking, will you be able to provide me an opportunity in your school or a college? They would be very willing to come, oblige in many cases because they already know you from before. The same with your past connections in your workplace. If you reach out to them and ask them for an opportunity to give a keynote speech at their office, many of them will be happy to do that. If you're starting off and you're doing it pro bono, they would be happier because otherwise they would have to pay someone a lot of money to get in as a keynote speaker. If you're coming in and doing it pro bono, they would be even happier. So leveraging your past connections and your current connections is a very easy way of growing your business. And this is something that I have done extensively. A lot of my assignments initially used to come from people who knew me from earlier days, people who I was very good friends with. And now, as I have grown in my professional journey, they have also grown in their professional journey. Many of them are school principals, college principals, head of the department in universities. And they're very much happy to let me know that, they have got opportunities to come and address their university. The entire MICA thing, for instance, my assignment at MICA, it happened because of one of my school friends. He found that I am in this analytics and data science space, and then he referred me to MICA, and then MICA got in touch with me. So that's how this entire connection happens. So reach back to those people, find out what they're doing. Not they're doing in terms of their holiday and all. I'm not telling you to go and start stalking them, but have some idea in terms of where they are placed. Can they help you get something in terms of public speaking assignments and all? Then leverage your past and current experience. Now, one problem is we go and say that I want to speak on emotional intelligence. So remember the first slide, the intersection of A, B, C. You want to speak on emotional intelligence. Why would I want you to speak on emotional intelligence? I have got so many people who can speak on emotional intelligence. So build on what you have already done. I'll take the example of Smriti because I know that what Smriti has done before. Smriti has been in sales for a very long time. So today, if Smriti wants to go and talk about soft skills, because that's what she is doing, right? She's doing it now. But if I have to invite Smriti for a session on Keynote, I will not invite her for soft skills. I will probably invite her for sales training because that is where she has the credentials, right? Now, Smriti will say that, why will I go? Because I don't want to do sales training. That's why I moved out of sales. I paid so much of money in my training as a soft skills trainer. You again want me to go back to sales. I'm not going to do that. Targets and all, too much pressure, right? So, but the reality is that I will not be able to judge Smriti's speaking capability on an area in which she doesn't have a proven expertise. But I would definitely be able to take that chance with something where she has a proven expertise, right? So don't shy away from going into those areas where you already have got a good amount of space on your resume. So talk about those things first. Once you build your brand, then people will come and ask you ask you to talk about things which are directly not related to what you have done before. I see a hand raised. Yeah, look.
Yeah, sort of just one question on this branding stuff. Like, let's say we are having some 15 years of the technical expertise and we are going for a public speaker and building some expertise. Now, connecting with the friends, some of the friends can give the reference, but when we go in the market, unless we are having those skills as well as networking with the other professional members, sometimes I feel the challenge that in spite of we are having the good knowledge and expertise, but somewhere we start lacking, like people don't say, like, give reference to us. So in that scenario, what to do?
I did not say that doing with your friends is the end all be all of it. I said that's the starting point. Today, I don't depend on my friends to get speaking assignments, right? Today, people come to me with speaking assignments. This week, I'm concluding one course, another course with ICBI. That did not come to me because of any friend. That came to me because the person who is giving that assignment is giving that to me because he has seen me in an action in a session which I got for a friend. Are you getting my point? So this person who's giving me this assignment has not come to me because he's friends with Saurabh. He's not. He is giving me this assignment because he saw me in action in a session which I got from another friend. He liked what I said there. He liked how I said there, and he invited me. So it's what's important is two things here alone. One is getting started. You need that assistance of your existing and your previous network. There's nothing to be ashamed about that. You have invested in that. That's your returns. Second is, I'll come to that. Second is, when you're doing that session, just because your friend has given it to you, mera dost hai, oh, just my friend, so why do I care? If you go with that attitude, and that's what most people do, you know, my friend only, what will he tell me? He will not say anything bad. No, he will not. But the person sitting there who's looking for a keynote session will easily dismiss you because you are not impressive. So I always believe, even if you're going into and this has happened with me, literally, I have got business leads from Toastmaster clubs, which had meeting. In the meeting, there were only 5 members. You know, if I would have thought that, okay, I will go there, I'd have done education session, by the way. In that meeting, there were only 5 participants. I did an education session for 5 participants. Out of that, I got a lead and I converted that. Now, if I would have thought, oh, 5 participants, education session, waste of time. You know, I'll just say something and go, okay, done. What will happen? That opportunity will be lost. So even if you get one opportunity, that use that principle of now, no opportunity wasted, NOW. Don't waste any opportunity, and then you will be sorted. Okay, so we'll move on. Alok, we'll come back to your question. If you have further follow-ups to this, I'll take this up. So now, once you've built the brand, how do you strengthen your brand? This is something, again, we don't do. When you're doing a good session, don't shy away from telling the world that you have done a good session. Put up referrals, put up testimonials. This is important because you have done a wonderful session. How will I know that you have done a wonderful session? Even if I'm stalking into your life, you need to put it up somewhere on the window for me to see, which is your LinkedIn account or your Facebook account or your Instagram account. Share those. When you share those, be very careful you put it up as a strength. I'll give you an example what I mean. I talked about that 5-member session. I did not put the pictures of that session there. Why? Because I do not want the people to judge me that, oh my God, in his session only 5 people come. Seriously, I am not going to call him. But if this session I've got 40 participants, I will definitely put this, right? Because this is going to be a strong testimonial. This is where you need to use your brain. That which session testimonial I will put, which I will not put. Again, it is very important where you are putting. So on LinkedIn, if you're, for example, if you're a doctor, right? I'm using the example again of Neeta or Bindu. If you're a doctor and you're mostly connected with doctors and you're looking for an audience which is mostly consisting of dancers and writers, then putting on LinkedIn will probably not be a great idea because there you're connected mostly with doctors. So they probably want to put on Facebook or Instagram where you've got a more mixed audience in your friend circle. So you have to understand where you want to put the referrals and testimonials. That brings us to the second point, which is showcase and publicity. Here, this consideration is very important. Where am I putting it? What time I'm putting it? How many times I'm putting it? What exactly I am putting? That is also very important. For instance, if you're doing a video on 3 steps to overcome procrastination, and you're telling something that is there in every 3rd page on Google, it does not add any value to your audience or to your brand presence. It only tells me that you have got enough time at hand to waste, which means that you're not getting enough assignments. You don't have a lot to do in terms of productive work. So you're coming and putting something which I already know. If that is not bad, the worst is that you go and put that, some quote which I've already heard multiple times. An eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. Right? We wake up to this quote every day and we go to sleep with this quote every day. Now, if you come to LinkedIn and tell me this one more time, that doesn't show you're intellectually very, stimulated or invested. It just says that you've got a lot of free time. So that is what we also need to take into consideration when we are strengthening our brand, that we should not show to people that, I don't have enough original content, so I'm just putting other people's quotes out there. I don't have any enough original content or any original thought process that I'm just repeating the oft-heard lines. So this is very important. And the third is outreach and curate. Outreach is what? Outreach is where you reach out to those people who are able to give you the business, who are able to give you the speaking opportunity. So everyone knows about this concept called MICE, right? The MICE industry. MICE. Anyone knows the full form of MICE here? MICE. Media Incentives, Conferences and Exhibitions. MICE. So this MICE industry, media incentives, conferences and exhibitions. This MICE industry is where we have all these events and etc. happening. If you are interested to be a public speaker, you should be present on the various groups that are there connected with the MICE industry. Seminar organizers in India, AI conference organizers in India, AI conference organizers worldwide, whichever country you are in. I'm giving the example of India because I'm in India. If you're in Australia, look for Australia. But basically, you get the idea that you're connected to these people and you reach out to them. If you are seeing a seminar plan, one of the things I used to do initially is for some of the middle level vendors, like for example, Qual 360, MRMW, which are not like not bad, but not like super great conferences like Gartner and all. Those, they publish their calendars almost 1.5 years in advance. I would reach out to them almost 1.5 years in advance when they have not, finalized their speaker saying that I'm interested to speak. Now, this is what happens. When I send that email or when I send the LinkedIn message, invariably, I don't receive any response for almost 2-3 months. It is not that they did not see my message. You know what they're doing? In the 2-3 months, they're observing my activity on LinkedIn. And I've got definite proof of that. They observe my activity on LinkedIn. And then after 3 months or so, they contact me saying that, hey, Saurabh, are you still interested to speak? So they basically look the profile of the people who are sending them speaking as requests. So send them speaking requests. Even if you don't get a response back, don't get disheartened. You are not off the hook. You are just being watched now. Because you don't expect that, if it's a conference where people are putting in $2,000 or $1,000 as tickets, you don't expect them to just throw in money like this at you and say, come over and speak. I'm going to pay for your plane. I'm going to pay for your hotel. I'm going to pay for your food. It's not that easy. If it would have been that easy, then, we would not have the struggle of becoming a professional speaker in the first place. So this is the outreach and curate. Curate is where you put the content which is suitable. You don't put any random content, which is what I explained earlier, right? So you don't just put, because someone has told me that to be visible on social media, every day put a post on LinkedIn. So what I do, I put my puppy's picture, I put some flower picture, I put some quotes, I put a sunrise photo. How is that adding value to your public speaking journey? Right? That could probably be adding value to your aspiration of being a photographer. But how will that add value to your aspiration of being a public speaker? So think about that. What content are you curating? So before we move on to the compelling content, which is what I ended the last slide with, that compelling content, what content are you curating? So any questions on what we discussed in terms of building the brand? Okay. So I'll take.
I have a question. Sorry.
Yes, please.
I'm so sorry.
No problem.
Is there a possibility that you can become a successful keynote speaker without doing a lot of personal branding? Or is it like it's impossible? What is your take on that?
It's not
because not
impossible.
everyone is good at personal branding, right? So what do you suggest?
See, it's like this, Joan. Is it possible to grow your business and become a multimillionaire without doing any kind of sales and marketing? Yes, it is. There are a lot of stories where people have started the business and then business, clients fell on their lap and they become, overnight success and all that. Suddenly they got an order. But will you start a business with that process that, I'm going to let the business fall on my lap? I'm going to do nothing, I'm because shy of marketing and sales. I'm just going to wait here. I have opened a shop for soft skills training. I'm going to wait. Someone will come. God is kind and God will definitely send someone to my home. That is not how we can grow this. But will you have such success stories? Definitely you will. If you look at the journey of Shiv Khera, for instance, he had a very painful journey. He in fact started, and he's a great example of how he used his past experience and past connections to build his professional speaking career. So he also was something like this. It all started just like that. But then after that, he invested now. At some point of time, Joan, you will have to invest to scale it up. And then you will not be shy. And if you are shy, you'll have enough money to hire people who are not shy. So you'll manage that way. Okay. So we'll move on to the content part. So now the big day is around the corner. You did the right marketing and the right branding, and the opportunity comes your way, and you're on the stage standing with a microphone. So before I proceed, no, I want to tell you a story, and I love to tell this story because this is a story of failure. Okay, so this happened during one of the conferences in Singapore, and this was for MRMW, Mobile Research Mobile World Congress. So I went on stage. No, I didn't go on stage. Before me, there was another speaker who went on stage. You have heard this song Despacito, right? Obviously, you did. If you otherwise, you'd be living under a rock. So it is from Universal Music, I guess, right? So this person who went on stage was from Universal Music. He was the managing director of Universal Music of South Asia or Southeast Asia, something like that. His sense of humor was impeccable. I mean, he was the kind of a man. I'm just, it's like this. If he would have been in Toastmaster, winning a contest would be like this for him. But good for us, he's not a Toastmaster. So he had humor in every second line. On top of that, he was extremely good looking. And he went on stage and he's like, people started like, wow, and this kind of reactions. I was sitting in the audience and people were like, wow, he looks so good, man. Now, all of this was nice. The only bad part in this was that he spoke really well, really well. The only bad part is this entire thing is the next speaker after him was me. So when I went on stage, I had too much to compete with. An awesome speaker who looked well, who spoke well, who made people laugh, who had an impeccable sense of humor. And there I am. I'm like, what am I even doing here? And to make matters worse, my session was just before lunch. So the sessions just before lunch and just after lunch are kind of a conspiracy to kill your public speaking journey. So I'm like, what will I say? I went on stage and I just froze. I couldn't talk. Okay. I'll tell you, there is more to it. I mean, you may feel that I'm exaggerating. I'm not. So this is the time when I was working in JCPenney. And two of my team members, JCPenney paid for their travel too, so that they can come and watch me in action, to get inspired and all that. Okay, so imagine two of my team members sitting in the audience, and I am standing on the stage like this, totally frozen. Don't know what to say. The slide is behind me. 3 times I said good afternoon. 4 times I smiled at the audience, and I'm still not able to get my confidence back. I drank water. I tried everything that was there on the books. Nothing worked. And then after a few seconds, I started sweating. And sweating as in not like you see in the movies, like a drop coming down like here. No. Sweating as in like full on sweating. I was literally as if I just drenched in, I had a shower. People came running to me with towels, with water bottles. Someone came and said, hey, are you doing fine? Are you doing fine? I'm pretty sure a couple of them would have already called for ambulance. It was that bad. I mean, this guy is going to get a heart attack and going to die. Thanks to Despacito. So that is the situation I was in. And it was horrible. The worst speech of my life. And they paid for it. So the person who actually signed the deal with me, he didn't even say me a proper goodbye. I know why. We pay for your travel, we pay for your speech, and you come here and do this mess. Almost for 6 months, I couldn't go on stage or couldn't speak to a group of even 3 to 5 people. Went into a total speaker's block. What do you do there? Anyone else who has had this situation? Like this kind of speaker's block, hot flushes, like big day, big moment, and you're going on stage and like, the cat got my tongue. The speaker before you was so good that you are like, gone. Happened to anyone? No one. All of you are
Yeah. No, it has happened.
It has happened to me multiple times.
Please share, no, otherwise I am feeling that I am the only one.
Yeah. Even it has happened in Toastmasters also, right? Like in the district conference, I remember before me, the person who went was so damn good that when I went next, because I was so nervous, my tongue started twisting and I couldn't speak properly. Like all the pronunciations, everything went for a toss. And I was like, just let this hell finish and when am I gonna get off the stage? All I was thinking of that. Yeah, bad failures
Good,
many
very
times.
good. Good that you had a bad failure, and I'll tell you why in a short while. Okay, Nancy, what's your failure story?
So this was my first speaking assignment. It was a conference of women engineers. When I say women engineers, senior level professionals to mid-level professional to senior level executives, and I was merely a fresher, first year in my job, and I got this assignment. The moment I got up on stage fully prepared, I was already nervous. I started with my first line, good morning, everyone, and all. And then I forgot everything else. I forgot what to say next. I was frozen, looking at the audience, staring, sweating. And then I didn't know what to say, totally blank, out of words. Within few seconds, I know everyone could see that I was frozen. Within few seconds, I gained my composure and I started speaking further. And then it went fine. But that is one such experience I can never forget. That frozen moment, that blankness into abyss. So yeah, it happened.
Lovely. Okay, Mita, what is your story?
When I just went for my PG, this one PG ke liye, then that time I was really able to speak. I had prepared very well. But when the time came and we had people like all the lectures, people came and the members and lecturers and all they came and sat. And then I saw the audience, they were full of the crowd and all the students and the lectures and all. I was not able to speak one word also. I forgot my happy morning also I was not able to speak. And then later on, I just got little bit and then someone said that it's okay, you can go. My lecturer, she pushed me and she motivated. She said, it's okay, no problem, you can go ahead. And then little bit I got motivated and I got initiated. Then I started. That time was a thing I realized that I'm not good in this. So I joined for Toastmasters to improve my public speaking. Thank you.
Okay, lovely. Okay, Suma, what is your story?
Yes, it was during immediately after my graduation, that is after my B. I was offered a scholarship to do my master's, provided I did my 1 year of faculty job in the same college. Being a fresher, I was completely introvert, shy, and I had to teach the fourth semester students. And coming immediately out of the college, I was like do or die situation wherein I entered the classroom and it was like 94 students and I had to stand in front of them and I literally froze. Though I had prepared myself, though I was good at content, but I literally froze. My legs were shivering. People came to know that I was not suitable for the lecturer job. But that is when I decided, I took a firm decision. If I have to do anything, I have to improve my communication skills. And that was when my journey started to improve my speaking skills. And it's still on. And that was my first failure, which has taught me a lot.
Great. Okay, Balaji, Raja, and this is the last story we will hear, because after this, I'll tell you what to do.
I never gave a speech outside of Toastmasters. It happened in Toastmasters. Well, I was in motivation strategies pathway level 1 project for the evaluation feedback speech 1. Then my project speech, it can be any speech. Okay, I prepared for technical speech about semiconductors, and I still remember I have the script in with me, and it was an online meeting, and every script I was in, it was in there, but I couldn't speak. After 2 minutes, I said to Toastmaster of the day, sorry, I didn't prepare for the speech. I will give it next time. That was one embarrassing moment I had. After that, the second speech I prepared very well. I rehearsed many times the same thing and I delivered it very well. So that was one experience I had.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. Now, here's the thing. Someone mentioned in chat that, it happens every time in table topics. See, we are very lucky that we are in Toastmaster. All these failure stories that you're talking about in Toastmaster, these table topics, these speeches, even the contest is nothing but a simulation of the real world. The real world is extremely unforgiving, extremely unforgiving. That MRMW conference I've done at least 5 years before that. I've attended that conference, I've spoken there. That was not on professional capacity. Those I actually had to pay from my own pocket to go there and speak. But I still used to participate that. I did it free of cost. And one conference they paid me and I did not do a good job and they kicked me out unceremoniously, unforgiving. On top of that, because I, kind of blemished my image and the company which I was representing, I was a director with JCPenney, right? So JCPenney also did not take it very lightly. They were also very unhappy about the fact that I went there and made a mockery of their brand. A director of JCPenney freezing on this one. Obviously, the team members who came with me, they went back and told their stories, obviously, with a lot of exaggeration, perhaps, for all I may know. So net, it was extremely unforgiving. So don't even worry about the Toastmaster moments of embarrassment. This is just getting you ready for the real battle, which is out there. And that's where the real fun happens. The gloves are off, the nails are out, the teeth is out. People are ready to bite you, scratch you and all that. So what's the solution to this problem? 99% of people will tell you that tell yourself nothing will go wrong. Right? Motivate yourself. Read a lot of motivational quotes. Close your eyes and visualize you are successful. You can do as much visualization as you want at home. The moment you go on stage, it can happen and it will happen at least once in your lifetime and everything will go wrong. So there is a very interesting theory or an exercise that I'm going to share with you. I'm putting the link here, such longer videos. I'm not going to play it, but I would request everyone to play this and see this later. I will explain what this video is about. This video says your fear is real. You have a reason to be worried. It's the total opposite of what we have been taught till now. Don't worry, be happy. If you don't worry, you will never be happy. You have a reason to worry. The worries are for real, he says. And he says that you have to do, instead of a goal setting exercise, do a fear setting exercise. He says, be afraid. Yes, be afraid. List down why you are afraid. And then ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen if this happens? So I go to speak in a Toastmaster meeting, I forget my speech. What is the worst that can happen? I will have to tell the team that I can't complete my speech. How can I prevent the worst from happening? By practicing. But will that guarantee the worst will still not happen? Absolutely not. The worst will still happen. So what is the next best option I have after that? Go back, prepare again and come back. So the fear setting exercise is a very powerful exercise. It is built on the principles of Stoicism, where it says that focus only on the things that you can control. Stop worrying about the things you cannot control. Our fear or this freezing comes because of the fact that it's a big day. And that is why he says that if it's a big day, Murphy's law will come into place at some point or the other. The more you worry about things going wrong, things will go wrong. As simple as that. So therefore, be prepared for the worst by writing down all that can happen. And the entire tension will go out of your head. Because you already have the entire scene planned out. Okay, I'm going on stage, making a fool of myself. Everyone is laughing. If it's an online meeting, everyone goes off camera. The rest of the people leaves. Right? I'm the only one in this room. What will happen? I will cry alone and then I'll leave. How can I prevent that? By practicing more. Even after that, what happens, then what will happen? I will not go to that club again. I will get better prepared and then I'll go to the club. In my case, for instance, when I first went for contests in Toastmasters, I lost all the 4 contests. So what did I do? My next best plan was to become a district officer. So that I can't contest. I have the consolation to tell myself that, okay, you're a district officer, you can't contest. So that way I have a good excuse to not make a mockery of myself, right? So you find such a backup plan and sort yourself out. It's a secret. Huh? Many people, not Madhu, but many of us become district officers so that we can tell people, oh, I can't contest, I'm a district officer. That's not the real, it's the other way around. Anyways, I'm just kidding. But so that is the entire fear setting exercise. So the big day pressure, how do we handle it? So go through this exercise, it will teach you a lot on that. And let me go back to this one. I will go back to the screen share. Yeah, can you see my screen? Can someone confirm, because I can't see anyone else?
Yeah, we can.
So then this fear setting exercise is this what if, define what are the causes of the fear, prevent, and then if it happens, how will you repair it? So these are the 3 steps in which he explains. Go to the video, it's very beautifully described. You will definitely understand. If you still have some difficulty, let me know. So when you are going into this one, 2 things I would want you to request if you're going in for a keynote session. One is the speech fundamentals. Don't ignore that. That is extremely important when it comes to keynote speech. Visual aids, what you're using, the fundamentals around that. Like, for example, if you're using a PPT, if you would have noticed my PPT, all the slides I've kept extremely light, except for, I think, one slide where I've talked about the workshop, seminars, and this one. Everywhere else, I have kept it extremely light. Right, the font size, everything is consistent, and I have paid those attention to the details, the vocal variety, the pitch, the pace, the pause, all of those things you'll have to keep in mind. The delivery style, it should suit the topic. If you're talking about about a serious topic like, say, breast cancer, or or say POSH, prevention of sexual harassment, you can't go in with a humorous style of speaking, right? That's not funny. Someone dying of breast cancer or someone facing harassment is not funny. So you have to be very careful about the delivery style, the stage presence, both online and offline, the body language, micro expressions, etc. That is also, again, very important. I'm not going into the details of it because these are speech fundamentals. The expectation is that someone who aspires to be a professional keynote speaker has already got these covered. My only request is not to discount these, saying that, in a big stage, these things don't matter so much. People are anyways there, they will listen to me for 2 hours. No, it's not necessary. They will leave you because there's nothing like a captive audience. You have to captivate the audience and you have to keep them captivated. The other thing is, before you go into keynote speaking, I would request everyone to complete the 11 paths, or at least a majority of these paths, because each of these paths will help you in writing your keynote speech. Visionary communication, team collaboration, strategic relationships, all of these, engaging humor, presentation mastery, they teach you a lot in terms of things. And in fact, there's a project also, 18 to 22 minutes project we have, right, where we talk about prepared to speak professionally. So that is something which is the foundation on which you can build. That will be your like a dry run. That's a net practice that you need to do before you take the big stage where you're paid or unpaid, whatever it is. So these are the 2 things that you want to keep in mind. Now, let us go into some more technical stuff a little bit. So the first is effectively using storytelling. So again, there's a Venn diagram here. First, let's understand this. So storytelling is an intersection of these 3 things: explain, engage, and enlighten. Explain what you're trying to say, engage the audience when you're explaining, and you give them an aha moment. Because if you don't give them an aha moment, the audience is like, oh, I knew this already. For explaining, you need a combination of narrative and data. Just using data would make it boring. Just using narrative will make it very fluffy. For engaging, you need a combination of narrative and visuals. Just using narrative can bore people. Just using visuals can look very kiddish. And for enlightening, use a combination of visuals and data. Why? Because for enlightening or creating that aha moment, you need that piece of information. 75% people in the world suffer from glossophobia. It's feared more than the fear of death, right? One of the I did not know that. That kind of a feeling should come. So that's the data part. But if you just talk numbers, people will not understand. People will not be able to relate with it. So that's why you have to give visuals also. That's why you see the pictures here and there that I put on the slide. It gives the visual relief and the connection. Now, let me explain a few common storytelling techniques that you can use in a keynote speech. The first is monomyth. Anyone has any idea what is this monomyth about? You can also share. We can learn together. I can't see anyone, so don't raise your hand, unmute yourself and speak. I'm just seeing my slides. Okay, so monomyth is basically a rags to riches story, right? It's a hero's journey. All the stories that you hear about someone coming into the city from the village with only $1 in their pocket, and then they're building $1 billion enterprise, all of those stories are nothing but monomyth. The opposite of monomyth is kind of mountains, where you have a fall. In monomyth, you have a rise. In mountains, the climax happens with a fall. So this person came to the city, and then this person inherited a lot of money from his father, but then he fell. Why he fell? Because of his lifestyle, because of his habits, blah, 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 blah. That is the mountains. So mountains is where you are successful, then you're becoming a big failure. That is the inflection point, the fall. Then comes the petal structure. The petal structure is where there is a common point which holds all of these stories together. So, for instance, if we are talking about a story of a family which has migrated to the US, right? And then we tell the story of the mother, then we tell the story of the father, then we tell the story of the son. All of these things are related to the story of someone who's coming into US as a migrant, and how are they becoming a part of the mainstream culture of that particular country, or for that matter, any other country. Spark lines. Spark lines are basically where there is a compare and contrast. The good boy, bad boy story, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of a story, where you give this, this person did this, so this person got this. This person did not do this, so this person did not get this. These two stories are the spark lines, where you do a compare and a contrast. And then nested loops. In nested loops, what happens is there's a story within a story within a story. So this person failed in the examination. You know why this person failed in the examination? Because this person did not sleep at night. Do you know why he did not sleep at the night? Because this person did not have a home. You know why this person did not have a home to stay? And then you go down and down and down. So there's a nested loop. So these are the 5 common ways of telling story. There are more storytelling techniques, but then don't get too wrapped up in techniques and verbiage, because then you will lose the focus. Next comes engaging humor. So these are the popular types of humor that are there. This is a study that done by Stanford Business School. There are 2 professors, Jennifer and Naomi, who have done this study. These are the common styles of humor: observational humor, slapstick humor, self-deprecating humor, puns and wordplay, and satire. So you see, these 3 are very popular: observational, slapstick, and self-deprecating, more popular than the other 2. But remember 2 things here. Observational humor is extremely difficult. It's not something that will happen very easily. Every one of us, most of us struggle with that. Very few people can master that. Observational humor is something where you observe something and you make a joke on that, right? A slapstick humor is where you make some kind of an exaggerated movement, like making faces and this and that. That is slapstick humor. The other problem with slapstick humor, apart from the fact that it's difficult to execute, is that every audience does not have an appetite for it. Particularly intellectuals and intellectual audience, you have to be very careful if they would be open to slapstick humor. Someone batting someone with a bat, hitting someone with a bat, and jumping from the floor, and all those kind of things may actually irritate them. You will lose the audience. Particularly doctors, engineers, teachers, professors, scientists, not a very good audience for slapstick humor. One of the very safe humor which works in mostly all kind of audiences, self-deprecating humor. Because if they have invited you, they see a connection with you. And if you make a fun of yourself, then they understand that, that's something that they can probably relate with. There's one thing you have to remember: when you're making a fun of yourself, make it in the space in which they understand. Like, for example, if I stand here and crack a joke on AI or machine learning, many of you will not get it. That joke will not land. Because even if I'm self-deprecating myself using some scientific theory, you don't understand what did I just say. So you will just dismiss that, some random stuff he said and went. Puns and wordplay and satire are difficult, very, very difficult to use, because this needs a very strong command over the English language and needs a very strong situational awareness. That's why it's not used so frequently. But if you can master that, you are going to land with some classic British humor. But again, you have to have a word of caution here. Puns and wordplay and satire is generally an humor that we use on others. So it's the opposite of self-deprecating humor, where I make fun of members of the audience. So you really need to have to be in a position of authority to do that. Even then, people will see you as arrogant if you're making fun of them. So this is, something which we call is aggressive humor. So aggressive and expressive humor is when you have puns and wordplay, and satire is where you have got aggressive and subtle humor. So keep these things in mind when you are talking about humor. But basically, humor is something which is very important. When I'm saying humor, it's not that you are expected to crack a joke every second line and roll over the floor laughing, but keep the audience engaged. A smile here or a smile there would always keep the sessions interesting. Now let's come to using some of the frameworks. So why do we use frameworks? We use frameworks because frameworks help us explain a very complex topic in a very small period of time. Okay, so one framework that we use is problem, agitate, solve. Can someone take a shot at this? What could it possibly mean?
Yeah, can I take a stab on this?
Yes, please. What are you able to see my screen? I'm not too sure. Yes, no?
Yeah. Yes, we can
were.
see.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Please continue.
Yeah. So problem, like this is also called tap, tease, and transport. What I understand. So tap means like you are asking question to the audience. Okay, let's say just what is artificial intelligence? And audience will say like, okay, data train this. No, you are not that correct. This one, like you are agitating. This is not the right answer. Something different. This, and then you are taking into that your own world where you are giving explanation, story, and whatever you are talking. So tap, teasing you, audience, you are telling something, and then giving solution or transporting it.
So the only problem is that it is not problem annoy solve. It is problem agitate solve. The technique that you are saying will actually annoy the audience. You may actually lose or antagonize the audience. If you take the risk of making fun of the audience and tell them, this is a big problem, but you know what, you can't solve it. So just let it go. Let me solve it for you. That is a very risky strategy to take, Alok, to be very honest. Here, the agitate means you need to get them angry about the problem. So we say that you cannot sell something, you cannot sell a solution before you have sold a problem, right? So here you have to sell the problem. If you look at any motivational speaker, they will start with a small problem. They will say, this person walked in, he saw a blank door, and then this happened, and then this happened. Can you imagine? This happened. This bandit, this. He's getting the audience all angry about something that he's only angry about. When he starts the speech, see the pattern here. When you start the speech, you are the only person in the room who's angry about it. The rest of us are totally clueless. We are having our drinks, food. Hey, can I have your number? What will we do after this and all that? You come in and you start doing all kind of jazz and drama. I also start getting angry. My board starts boiling. And then you say, are you angry enough? Now let me tell you what to do. Right? So that is the problem. Agitate, solve. That is the model. You agitate them about the problem. Yes, absolutely. The Adolf Hitler speeches or any kind of a speech, by any kind of those kind of people, who were autocrats, who were like, I don't know what's the right word. I'm just not getting it right now. But you understand, right? I mean, people who are like dictators. Yeah, dictators. So dictators generally give this kind of speech. They survive on the agitation. Here, the agitation is key, right? They will get very angry. And then they say, how do we solve it? Kill them, right? That's the strategy. So we have to be problem, agitate, solve is one of the things. Yeah, Rajesh, you had a question.
And even politicians use this sort of language sometimes.
Absolutely, they survive on that. The votes come because of the agitation, right?
Okay.
No, I think I just wanted to say that problem, agitate, solve. I think we can have a problem is the water crisis, and I can go and talk about agitation means what are the challenges we are facing at home, office, and neighbors. We can explain about slowly, then how we can solve it in that way.
No, that is the second one, Rajesh. Thank you for bringing this up because that is the second framework, which is problem, cause, solution. So problem, agitate, solve survives on emotion. It has to be very high on emotion. There it will be like, We don't even have water in Bangalore. Can you imagine? Not a drop of water to drink, money everywhere, not a drop of water to drink. This is what are we paying for? Is this what are we paying for? Like, this is what will happen, right? That is the problem agitate solve. A problem cause solution. The PCS framework is where the next framework, problem cause solution. We don't have water in Bangalore. We have a shortage of water in Bangalore. Why is that so? Because we have gone for a rapid development. There are concretes and this and that, white topping. The water is not going into the water basin is drying up. Because of all of those reasons, we are having this problem in Bangalore. So the problem cause, so what is the solution to it? The solution to it is this. This is the problem cause solution. That is the second framework. Clear? Next is motivation, ability, promotion. Motivation, ability, promotion. First, this does not talk so much about the problem. This approach is generally taken with people who are already motivated, who understand the problem. Yeah, I will share the screen. 1 second. I thought it was unshared. I'm sorry. I hope you can see it now, right? Yeah. You can see it, right? Can you give me a thumbs up?
Yes, we can see it now. Thank you.
Yeah. So the motivation, ability, promotion. So this, you don't, this is for an audience which is already sold on the problem, like public speaking. Most of the people here are Toastmasters. So they know that we need public speaking. So I really don't need to tell you that what is the problem of being of good communication. Why do we need to be a good communicator? We don't need to tell all this. That is sorted. That's something that your VP memberships have taken care of, and that's how you ended up paying the membership fee. They've already solved that problem agitation part for me. I will start with the motivation. This is what I did today, right? I did not start with why do you need to be a good communicator. If you did not know the answer, you would not be here in the first place. So then I went on straight away to motivation. 92% of the people consider this. Remember, that is so the framework I am using is motivation, ability, promotion. Motivation, and then I'm saying you have the ability of it. That's why I build that ability, right? About these are the content that you need to create, etc., etc. And then I'm going to promote or teach how you will promote yourself. And this is also a part of the solution that I'm going to provide to you. Like when I said the fear setting exercise and all of that, like I am the best person to provide the solution. I know what I'm talking about, right? So that is the MAP framework that I'm using. And the last one, problem analysis, solution, evaluation. Problem analysis, solution, evaluation is a framework that we use when we have a very unknown audience. We don't know the audience's awareness level. So to be on the safer side, we start with the problem. We don't agitate the problem because we don't know how strong the problem is for them. Or when it's a mixed audience. Like, for instance, if I'm doing a session on, say the topic is that, say it's a debatable topic, right? I'm deliberately, kind of bringing this up. But see, the topic is that are laws in India more woman friendly than it needs to be, right? And this topic is something that I'm speaking on, say in an audience which has got a mix of men and women. I have to be very careful that I don't take the line of problem, agitate, solve. That could agitate a lot of things, right? Because 50% will be men. One of them will be like, okay, so what? If you're not faced, they'll get angry if I'm like too feminist. Or if I'm speaking a little bit on a misogynistic line, or the thing that I'm speaking on a misogynistic line, then what will happen? Then the women members of the audience will get angry. So problem, agitate, solve is not something that you should use in a very heterogeneous mix or where the audience has got a mixed opinion about things. Another example is the impact of AI. When we do a seminar or a workshop for AI engineers, we very, casually come and say, we all know AI will take jobs. We have to get ready. But the same addressal, when we are doing in an audience of trainers and generalists, there we say, AI can never take jobs. Humans have got creativity, right? So we change the narrative because my intention here is not to lose the audience, not to get beaten up by the audience. What do you mean by I will lose my job? Then let me go and find a job. I will sit in your session, right? So that is the kind of idea that I don't want to promote. So problem analysis, solution, evaluation is a very balanced, thoughtful, cautious approach towards the problem. Clear? Any questions on the framework? There are again Hundreds of frameworks you will find, but these are the 4 popular ones that I use a lot. It's easy to understand. Problem, agitate, solve. Use it in an audience where you need to get a very quick action, a very strong action, a paradigm shift, a significant change. That's where we use it. Problem, cause, solution in a more balanced audience where you're not expecting an immediate action. Like, for example, environmental activities, or for example, don't use plastic kind of things. You don't expect everyone to just walk after this speech and throw away every plastic in their house, right? It doesn't happen like that. So that is something that you should do. But problem, agitate, solve, one example could be that one example could be that don't buy pets, adopt them. So if I come here and say, can you imagine the kind of atrocities that the breeders unleash on the animals to breed them? Do you have any idea? And when you're buying that, what kind of, you're supporting them. You're supporting the pain and all that. And I get you very angry. I show you pictures of dogs and cats who are heavily pregnant and by the breeders multiple times in a year and all that. And then you get very agitated. And then you call up that person and say, hey, listen, I ordered the Labrador last week. I don't want it. Thank you. Right? So that is the action I'm expecting you to take right then. That's where the problem, agitate, solve. If I don't need an immediate action, I will use problem, cause, solution. Motivation, ability, promotion is for a matured audience, generally more from a technical kind of a speech or something to do with your work, which is what we are doing right now. Problem analysis, solution evaluation is more for an audience which is very balanced, mixed kind of an audience. Now, 3 factors for a keynote speech. The first one is ad-lib. Ad-lib is where you do not prepare the speech scripted, keep it word by word, but you're able to make changes in it as you are speaking. So in my case, I have the PPT, which is the structure, but my story, whatever I'm sharing with you, whatever I'm saying, none of that I've written anywhere. It's not possible. I cannot have that kind of a memory that I will read for 2 hours. And if I do, I will lose the audience. See, I can always write it down here and I can read from here. So ad-lib is this, ad-lib is going to help it. But that will not help me build the connect. I have to look at the camera and I cannot look at the camera and speak and look at the script at the same time. So that is the reason ad-lib is very important. The other reason of ad-lib is the best way to engage the audience. Like, for example, every time I'm bringing Smruti into the example, or Alok into the example, or Madhu into the example, that is only possible, or Rajesh into the example, that is only possible because it is ad-lib. If in my script Madhu is not there, then even if Madhu is there, I will have to ignore Madhu. Right? Madhu, this gives me the flexibility to include a character, or for example, Madhu is there in my speech, but Madhu is there not in the meeting. It has happened also. My mentor is right here, where it actually happened in one of the offline meetings. Someone was giving this speech about mentorship. They said that I want to thank my mentor who is right here. And then he's looking all around. Where is the mentor? The mentor did not turn up. So whatever way, it did not happen. So this is the danger of a scripted speech. So ad-lib is the way when you're doing this one. That's why I said you need a lot of practice in scripted speeches, in public speaking, before you go for ad-lib speaking, before you go for keynote speaking. This is the reason. The second is cognitive flexibility, making changes on the go to your speech, moving from one topic to another. No, like for example, I have come here thinking I will have Q&A at the end. But after the first section, only people start asking questions. What do? Hold on, I'll ask at the end. Hold on, ask at the end. After 3 times, I say, hold on, only you hold on, we are going. Right? So that is what the problem will be. So you need to be flexible about it. Or let me take another example. You came with a lot of jokes around marriage and all of that, right? And just before the speech, you are meeting the conference, you're like, one thing I really don't like about speakers is all these marriage jokes they crack. Man, seriously. I mean, how can you be so misogynistic? And you're like, oh my God, all my jokes are on marriage. So what do I do now? So that is the flexibility. Then you have to, put down all the marriage jokes and you have to think of something else. So that flexibility you need to have this is the factor. And contextual intelligence, where what will go with whom. Where will I use Smruti as an example? Where will I use Samita as an example? Where will I use Madhu as an example? Where will I use, Alok as an example? I have to understand. The number of times I'm mentioning someone's name is actually giving that person a sense of importance. I'm not saying that you need that sense of importance from me, but it gives you a sense of importance. That's obvious, right? So that is why you have to be very cautious on that also. Too many times mentioning someone's name for no reason, I am finding the excuse that you guys are on camera, so I'm giving you more attention. So that's my legitimate excuse. Right? But if that's not there, if all of you are off camera and I'm repeatedly only mentioning 2-3 people, it antagonizes the entire audience. So you need to be very careful about those things, which is what comes from cognitive contextual intelligence. There are multiple games. If you just search again on Google a little bit, you will find there are multiple games on contextual intelligence and cognitive flexibility, which you can play to get better in this. There is a site called Luminosity, 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 in which you will find a lot of these mind share games and all that, the brain share games and all. Go and practice. Those are very good games for cognitive flexibility and contextual intelligence. Very simple games. My 8-year-old daughter enjoys playing them, so you can definitely play. So may look kiddish at the beginning, but slowly you will realize that you are still a kid and you'll start loving it. That's my guarantee to you. Now, finally, the most interesting part, building a career in public speaking. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things here. First is handling logistics and contracts. So one of the most important challenges that we face is, okay, I got a speaking assignment. I know what to speak. The client is all set. The client is even ready to pay. Wow, boy, this is surprising, right? Now, the biggest problem, how the client is asking me, what is your charge? And I don't know. How much should I say? If I say it is $1,000 per hour, they may never call me back ever again. And they will also tell other people never to call me. If I say $1 per hour, they're like, oh my God, that cheap, we need someone good. If I say $50 per hour, then I don't know if I'm going to get it or the other person is going to get it. So what is the right charge? So how do you decide that? There is no one single formula on which you can decide it. But this is something that I use as a benchmark. Number one, if it's for a paid session, it's for 2 hours, right? Then the content creation will also be at least for 2 hours, but I would generally bill it for 4 hours because I know that it will take more time than what I anticipate because there will be research and all that. Again, whether it is 2 hours or 4 hours will depend on whether the topic is on an area of deep expertise or a topic which is evolving, growing, on which I need to do additional research. So basically, never do the cost calculation based on 2 hours of speaking. Do the cost calculation on all the preparation hours, which is what we don't do. We say, okay, 2 hours, okay, I charge this, so it is 2,000 into 4,000 rupees. Yeah. And then after that, you're cursing yourself. 4,000 rupees for that, so much of work. What nonsense. Who does so much of work? Making so many PPT. Shit, this is so bad. I hate myself. I hate the world, right? Why? Because you never took that into consideration. The second thing is that you need to take into consideration is the expenses that you will have. Like, for example, if you need to take a Canva license, if you need to take this license or that license, that is something that you need to factor in the cost. Third, the most important question that will now come is, what is the rate per hour that you're going to bill them? Remember, you can bill the client only for the 2 hours of speaking. You cannot bill the client saying that, I will have dinner, uska 30 minutes. I will have to walk a little bit so that I don't fall asleep before the PPT. So that is also like I'm billing it to You can include all that in the cost, but you cannot put that in the billing. In the billing will be only for 2 hours, right? So how will you decide that? So the best way to do is, you see the total amount of time you're going to spend on this particular assignment. Let me take this example. This PPT I took around 2 hours to make because many of these content was already there with me. I knew what I'm talking about. So 2 hours plus 2 hours, 4 hours. Right, is what I've spent on this. So I would be billing the client for 4 hours. Now, what rate will I bill? The rate I will bill is, I will see what I earn otherwise. And that is my base rate. That is the opportunity cost. So if I was not doing this, I would have been doing that. How much am I making per hour on that? Then that is the base rate that I will use here. If you are very new into the system, then in that case, you may probably want to take half or a 1/4 of that base rate. As you come more into the system, you will make it 1x of the base rate. As you are getting more in-demand kind of a speaker, then you make it 1.5x, 2x, and so on. Speakers like Shiv Khera, they charge 1,95,000, 1,50,000 for a 3-day seminar. right? So you can, that is also a rate that they are taking. So there is no limit to the what you can charge. There is no range to it, but it should be something which goes with your profile. You cannot say that, what are you saying? I'm charging more. Come on, Shiv Khera charges 2 lakh rupees, Indian rupees. I'm charging very less. People will laugh at you, right? Because he has built a brand. He has written a book. He has spoken in so many countries. You have not done all of that. You do all of that, then you can also charge them. So see if you have that kind of a credential to charge them. Second is do a little bit of market research. One of the best place to go and find the per hour rate is Fiverr kind of places where people are marketplaces where people kind of put their prices per hour. I'm not telling you to go and charge those prices. I'm saying that will give you a ballpark figure. If you do a little bit of research, you will get a ballpark range that this is between this and this is what I can charge. One of the worst ways of finding this is to ask ChatGPT or AI because they don't know anything about this, right? So they will give you a number which you will hate for life. You will either lose the deal or you will get the deal at a cost where you will lose your own dignity to yourself, right? So don't do don't do that. Don't go and ask AI because they don't know the answer. Now, the next thing is understanding the contracts and the agreements. Go through every single word of the contract. What is written there? Where are you going? When are you coming back? Where are you staying? What they are paying for? What they are not paying for? Right? All of those things you have to understand because sometimes when it's an international assignment, you could be in for a root shock. For instance, they may be paying, for your hotel, but it's a shared accommodation. And you're not okay with a shared accommodation. You go there and say, I'm not okay with a shared accommodation. They'll say it's written in the terms and contracts. You take it or you leave it. And sometimes it can be extremely expensive. So reading those fine prints is very important. As they say, God is in the details. Negotiate on the travel and accommodation. Typically, when people say that we can't pay you for the speaking assignment, this is what you can barter on or try to negotiate on, or at least try to pay me for my travel and accommodation. If they say I can't pay for the accommodation, then at least try to get the travel. That's how you get started, You start with that. And people will give you very shocking reactions that, I have to pay you. I thought this is brand building for you. I'm doing a favor to you. So don't get taken aback because that's what their job is. Their job is to not pay you and your job is to get paid. So both of you are doing your job, right? So don't feel bad about that. And don't get angry with them also. And don't get scared about them. It's very normal. They will tell you like, oh, I have to pay. Like that, as if like, what did you ask for? How can you even ask that question? But don't get taken aback. Initially, when I used to ask for money, when I would say that, this is what I am charging, they would be like, seriously, you charge? I said, yeah, seriously, you thought I'd be free? Right? So that's how the conversation used to go. And it used to be in a very jovial manner. So it's not that, it's going to be like a fight and all that. But something that you have to be very upfront about. Okay, so that is the contracts. The other consideration is the balancing the speaking assignment with your other professional commitments, particularly if you have got doing other things also. For example, I just saw Dr. Neeta on camera. So she's a doctor and she has got the speaking assignments. So, hospital duties, emergencies, medical emergencies, all of these things she has to take into consideration when she's planning for the speaking assignments. One very important thing is developing long-term relationships with the clients and event organizers. Unless you have a Despacito moment like I had, generally it's a good idea to maintain that long-term relationship. Except for that one client, almost everyone I have a very good relationship. They still call me. We take, we kind of participate in conferences and contests and all that. And that happens. So it's always a good idea. But yeah, once in a while, Despacito will happen. So you have to be ready with that also. And you have to continuously improve and evolve as a speaker. What does that mean? I started all this in 2010 and I joined Toastmaster in 2020. So 10 years I did pretty well, even without being a Toastmaster. It was not that, in fact, I did more assignments than I'm doing nowadays. But what happened is that I never used humor. I didn't need to use humor because people would pay me for my subject matter expertise. People would call me, invite me because they would want me to talk about IoT, AI, machine learning, and those kind of things. Now, no one, those topics can be funny. No one ever said. So that's why no one ever expected also, right? So it were dry topics and people expected a lot of dryness because if it's dry, then it's intellectual. It's simple, right? So the drier it is, the boring it is more intellectual. So that's how people would look at it. But when I started communicating with a non-technical audience, then I understood the power of humor. And this is what I have evolved and tried to improve on as a speaker in terms of engaging humor. So that's it. That's the end of the PPT. I will now ask any questions that you may have. So yeah, it's open for questions. Anything that you want to ask, I can take that.
Yeah, sort of. I'm having one question.
Yes, please.
Like you had mentioned, related like we froze sometimes on the stage, even though we have preparation, we have done very good preparation. So the one of in Toastmaster journey, like when I was contesting for the speech contest on the club level, I was pretty nervous, and I have never expected that I'm going to be nervous because I was seeing the other speaker, and I started realizing like, oh, this speaker is speaking well, as you mentioned, like, and somewhere started getting nervousness or. But the second time, I like when I discussed with one of Toastmaster, he mentioned that when you go for any contest, try to avoid, go out of the room and don't listen. Just I want to understand from you, is this the right approach? Whenever if you are having good preparation and there is some contest is happening, is this the right way of doing that? What's your thought?
If it's working for you, it's the right approach. That's my thought, first of all. See, how you deal with your fear is your problem. And that should only be your problem. I can never tell you how to deal with your fear. Okay, because I am extremely scared of cockroaches. And I'm not joking, okay? I'm not trying to make you laugh. I can actually spring out of this room like a monkey in 30 seconds if I see a cockroach anywhere near me, even at this age. That's how much scared I am of cockroaches. Now, you can tell me a long lesson you can give me. How can you be scared of cockroaches? They are so small. You know, what can they do to you? They don't even have horns. They can't even bite properly. But I don't understand logic, right? My fear does not understand logic. So the problem, Alok, is the line that you mentioned. I never thought I will be nervous. That line is the problem. You have to think that you will be nervous. You have to think that you will not do well, probably. And then do the fear setting exercise. Because if you go with a lot of positivity and one thing goes wrong, it's doomed. And that one thing could be you forgot your script. That one thing could be the contest master read out the wrong speech title. My contest speech, I had to actually send a reminder to the contest master that please read out my speech title properly. Because previously in one of the contests, I had this kind of a plan and the contest master did not reach out the speech title properly and the speech went down the drain. Right? So that dependency will be there. So it may go wrong. So that's why be prepared. No, I'm not saying think negative, but be prepared for the negative. Be absolutely prepared. If you go with that, nothing can go wrong, then again, what will have to go wrong will go wrong. You can't stop it. You can go and sit in another room. I have seen people getting more nervous by doing that. At least here they can see other people around them. There they only see blank walls. I don't know what motivation you can get from blank walls and ceilings. And most of the contests in Toastmasters happen in offices, right? And those office cubicles are anyways so gloomy. Sitting there alone is sitting with the whole team is gloomy. So sitting alone is scary, no? So think of that also. But it works for you, not a problem.
Okay, one more follow-on question on that.
Yes, please.
Like sometimes, like I have seen like various keynote speaker when they go, they start with the physical activity, like okay, get up, do some music, some dance, and then so sometimes I feel that it is out of context. Just they are doing so. Just I want to understand your
out of context. Thank you for bringing this question up because there's a very important point that I missed in my presentation today. It is something called affective filters. So even as you're sitting here right now, there are things that's going on in your mind, right? There are people who are thinking that, okay, this is going on till 9 o'clock. After this, then what will I do? What's there for dinner? Is the dinner already ready? Should we go out? Is my call there tomorrow? All those kind of things are going on in your mind. Or maybe, okay, I just saw a message. Okay. Oh, okay, fine. Yeah. So all these things. So these affective filters prevent you from paying attention to my speech. So all those physical activities and all of that which happens is generally done for that, to get you into the space, draw you into the space. What do you mean by you will not pay attention to me? Come here and pay attention. Stand up, raise your right hand, raise your left hand, raise both the hands, both the legs. You'll fall down and you'll pay attention to me. So that is the idea. It's not done for fun. It's not to test your physical flexibility and agility. That's not the purpose. It's only to reduce affective filters. I do it in most sessions, particularly in a young crowd, because they are the most distracted, right? They've got 1,000 things going on in their mind. So that's why when it's a young crowd, college students and all, invariably I do that. And that the purpose is that to bring them into the moment. Yes, Suresh, sir. You have a question, sir?
Yes, I have a question. And my question is this: from what I understood from your excellent presentation today, is that the speaking industry is very rapidly evolving. I would like you to tell us about some emerging trends or the techniques you believe will shape the future of the keynote speaking, and how can aspiring speakers prepare for them? That is my question.
So the first thing is I believe that content is king will not be so relevant going forward, first of all, because content as a differentiator will lose its edge slowly, thanks to AI. Because there's so much of content available and you can create the content like this on any subject that it's very difficult to use content as a differentiator. If you know how to write good prompts, or worse still, if you know someone who can write good prompts, your life is sorted. Whichever subject you're talking about. And this is not an exaggeration, this is a reality. I have worked on LLM models, I've built LLM models, my team has built it. So I know that this is something that's happening or is going to happen. More focus will be on delivery. More focus will be on engaging the audience. More focus will be on the kind of engagement that you're doing with the audience. That is one thing. The second is, this is already happening. We will shift away from PPTs. I think this is after ages that I've used PPT and presentation and slide share. People will use different kind of visual aids. In fact, in my last few months of my corporate journey, which ended somewhere in 2019, Amazon, Jeff Bezos already had brought out this practice that PPTs were banned in their boardroom. They would give Word file documents to everyone. They will tell them to join half an hour before, and they would ask them to go through the Word docs, and then the meeting will start. So no one will be presenting behind them, anything. You will pay attention to the speaker. You already have the document. Pay attention to what he is saying and make notes. Not staring at the slides and faking that you're not sleeping. So he stopped all that. So any kind of presentation usage and all will definitely going to go down. People will be looking for more live demos, illustrations, different kind of visualizations that's going to be there. And the third thing is that we will have an increasing challenge in terms of the hybrid. So right now I have the luxury of doing online. People say I'm more comfortable doing in person. I've heard this a lot. Who cares what you're comfortable about? If I am paying you money, what is important is what I am comfortable with. You can be comfortable in person. This conference will happen hybrid. Suit yourself. Now that's a huge challenge because first is eye contact. So here we know we have to look at the camera. There we know we have to do spotlight and floodlight. Now imagine doing all the three together: spotlight, floodlight, and camera. Right? People get totally confused. They either don't look at the online audience at all, or they don't look at all the sections of the offline audience. So hybrid is going to be a huge challenge, particularly because here a section of the audience you will not be able to see also. So you don't know whether you're connecting with them. Are you making the right kind of connection? Are they listening to you? Are they getting your jokes? So everything is going to be a question mark, right? So that's why that's a challenge. So to sum it up, three things. One is the content differentiation. The different content as differentiation will go down its relevance and delivery will probably increase. The second is people will look for more unique ways of presenting innovation. And the third thing is this one, the hybrid mode that's going to come in. Nancy, one last question I'll take from Alok and then we'll wrap up. So, yes, so that's your question.
Yeah. It answers my question completely. Thank you very much for this exhaustive presentation. I really had a very good time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, Alok.
Yeah, so one question I'm having, like, I have seen many person who is like building their career in or trying to build their career in public speaking. They are using TEDx as their one of the platform where like they go give the TEDx speak, and they name themselves the TEDx speaker, and that's how they start their journey. So but somehow I have not much resonated with that. How do you
Every
suggest on
platform
that?
is important. Every platform has their own strength. As I said, like I have done educational sessions for 5 people in Toastmaster clubs that don't even exist today. And that has been a learning as well. So it does not matter what is the platform. TEDx is a good platform. TED is a better platform. Toastmaster is a very good platform. Your club meetings are a good platform. It all depends on, do you have an audience that you are able to engage? If the audience is someone who's not interested to engage with you, that's even better, because that's a good speech. That's a good test for you. I've got an audience which is totally bored. Oh, man, no, what will they talk about, man? Seriously. And you are able to engage them, right? Then that's so much more valuable for you as a learner. So that is very important. I think it does not. Don't worry about the platform. Every platform is good. TEDx, Josh Talks. We've got so many. Toastmaster itself, no, you do it in the club meetings. That itself gives you such a good practice. Okay, thank you. And okay, we can close back to you, presiding officer.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Saurav. Please put your hands together again for such an enumerating sessions full of a plethora of knowledge, giving us all possible direction to ponder upon. Thank you so much for that session, and thanks a lot to the members, visiting Toastmasters, distinguished guests, for gracing us with your presence. And we are amazingly positive and optimistic that the session was equally insightful for you. On that note, with time, we close the session formally today. Thank you so much.
Standing ovation to you, Saurav.
Wow.
It was amazing session, and we really learned a lot in this session. Thank you very much.